Howdy, it's Alexander here at AZ Firearms Auctions, taking a look at two of the cooler lots that we have coming up in our July 18th auction. They're both cans of 5.56, military surplus 5.56, but what makes them so cool is that they are variants that we are not very used to seeing in the United States. The United States, of course, the birthplace of the 5.56 cartridge. When it was adopted, it was M193, which was a 55 grain projectile going about 3,200 feet per second out of a 20-inch 1 in 12 twist barrel. It looked a little something like this. Came in little stripper clips. We originally had 20 round magazines, got up to 30. Iconic, we still use it, love the stuff. But a lot of other countries did innovations with 5.56 between the NATO standardization of the cartridge and their actual adoption of it. And what we're more used to seeing in a military capacity is M855 Greentip. The US didn't get around until adopting this until 1982 when we adopted the M16A2, but it's a 62 grain projectile with a steel core going about 150 feet per second less than M193, the 55 grain. Now before it was M855 in the US, it was SS109 in Europe, it was made by the Belgians, and it didn't quite have a green tip yet. That's just how we differentiated between the earlier M193, and also it's magnetic. That's important because when we look at these cartridges, they lack the green tip that the US put on them because that was the first 5.56 that they adopted. No need to differentiate between the two. So here we have the Canadian C77. It would be out of a 1 in 7 twist barrel, a little bit tighter, but it still is SS109. It still is a 62 grain mild steel core projectile, as evidenced by the fact that it's magnetic. Now, what's also cool about this is both the US and the British used steel stripper clips, but the Canadians used thermal magazines. 30 round polymer magazines, revolutionary at the time. And the stripper clips, it's just so cool, are thermal as well. It's one of those things that just makes Canadian firearms development a little bit different, a little bit more ahead of their time. Of course, they were the first people to use rails on top of their ARs, which now everybody does. We've already touched that when the Canadians adopted the C7, assault rifle in Canada, it was a 1 in 7 twist. When the British adopted in 1985 the L85 or the SA80, it also was a 1 in 7 twist, so it would have the magnetic steel core. But they were replacing the FALs, which was a 7.62x51, or they were replacing the L1a1 rather. Now what I mean by twist rate is the amount of inches in between full rotations of the rifling within the barrel. So a 1 in 12 means that there is one full rotation per 12 inches. When there is a 1 in 7, it means that there is one full rotation for 7 inches, which is important for a heavier grain projectile to stabilize. Now imagine you're throwing a Nerf football. You don't need to put a ton of flick in your wrist in order to get that to spin. But if you're going to throw a bowling ball, you'd want a ton of energy, pop, to get that to spin in the air. Now it's cool as a collector, it's also cool if you just want to shoot really good quality ammo. This one's from 85, this one's from 86, but it has been sealed the whole time and it looks good as new. If you would like to have these, they are coming up in July 18th. You can check us out at pogauctions.com. We are always buying and consigning firearms, ammo, and firearm accessories. Once again, that's July 18th. I hope to see you there.